गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। वेल, वी गोइंग टू बांग्लादेश एंड पाकिस्तान एंड व्हाई? Well, yesterday I thought I'll talk of Bangladesh, but then I was reading other things, and it suddenly struck me that there is the US pincer is acting toward through Bangladesh and Pakistan. We need to discuss this and understand this. While Bangladesh by itself is a problem, Pakistan by itself is a problem, the connecting link between these two is US. We need to be cognizant of it, right? Like I always said, we have a relationship with US and it is not strategic anymore. Okay. And taking the big thing first and then we'll get to each of these. It's not strategic anymore. Whether you look at it, the national security strategy or the new defense strategy which has come out from the US, India doesn't find much mention in it, which is damn good the way I look at it. But the flip side of the whole story is that, uh, notwithstanding what's come out in any document, on ground, the manifestation of these strategies is quite different, very different. Okay, and this manifestation of whatever US wants to do here actually has been on display. It's not coming in any strategy. It's on display from August 24 when Sheikh Hasina was toppled. Then of course it got amplified beautifully in Op Sindoor. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll see how things are moving both in Pakistan and in Bangladesh, and you see how things are being engineered by the United States of America. I mean, it's there in the open, and we just have to put the dots together and see, okay, where is this going? If look at it from my point of view, if the US, Bangladesh, and Pakistan are acting in some concert, part of a some orchestra, uh, can China be left out? No, it can't be. So we'll talk of that also. Where China fits into this whole story. Mhm. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, to start the day, this is a new flag of Pakistan. Like it? So this is what the Pakistanis today feel. Many of them, those emotional Pakistanis, feel that their thing has come to the Star of David. So that's how it is. So well, we must wish the entire lot of Pakistanis, whether they're in Pakistan or outside, whether they're serving the jihadis or non-jihadis or Americans or Chinese, right? Whether they're part of Mullah Munir's gang or not, this is the new flag they've coined for themselves. Okay, call it the Star of David or call the new Star of Pakistan. And who's the new Star of Pakistan? The rock star of Pakistan, who's got a lot of rocks, Mullah Munir. Okay, having said that, I do hope that sets the tone for the day, right? And Pakistanis have to think, yeah, good flag, well done, great show. Okay, so now let's get going to something else. That flag is not, just like that. It's not a flight of fancy of imagination. Look at this photograph. Look at this photograph with Netanyahu and Shehbaz Sharif standing side by side with the Board of Peace document. This is not morphed. Sorry, you can see this picture anywhere. Okay, so this is on the cards, and that indicates a complete flip of China. Sorry, a complete flip of USA towards Pakistan, and it's now very clear that these guys can't. Pakistan is probably very critical to USA for whatever it wants to do in Gaza. and of course that Bitcoin thing. So there's a lot of personal interest involved. There's a lot of everything, whatever. So we know that we'll not get into it. We'll look at it from the Pakistan side, etc., a little shorter. I found this, you know, yeah, sorry. So I found this article in Medium. It says, I've given the link off also. Have a look at it. Mm. Right? Why Pakistan's Gaza betrayal signals a new war on India? Well, I read it. It got me thinking. When you read it, you start understanding uh, their thought process. And something is happening, and we need to be very cognizant of that. We'll, I'll unravel that first. Okay, what does this chap write? You know, he writes by integrating itself into a security architecture that implicitly necessitates cooperation with Israeli interests. Pakistan army has committed an act of spiritual treason against the very constituency it spent decades cultivating. That is Hamas. Okay, so that's the thing which he says. That's his opening gambit. That there are a lot of people in Pakistan who feel that by doing whatever you want, they want, and Pakistan wants in the that board of peace, right? That board of peace, when Pakistan signed, it is not like India signing and doing nothing. You sign. Suppose let's take it that we signed. If you signed it, you signed it. End of story. After that, you give lip service and leave it at that. But no, here Pakistan signing that board of onto that board of peace has a role, executive role. It has to execute something. That's why. That's why that special photograph. Okay, so now Pakistan, whether you like it or not, is part of that board of peace to execute action, whether it's on ground. Now it puts itself at odds with the Hamas and the Pakistan Janta and all that. So this guy says, you know, Pakistan is going to operate there with that motto of their Pakistan army: Iman, Taqwa, Jihad, Fi Sabilillah. That's their thing. But the way I look at it, it is no more that. Is it changed? It's changed to Iman, Israel, Jihad, Fi Sabilillah. So, Taqwa has turned into Israel. Taqwa is PT. That's gone into Israel. Right. So that's how it is. Okay. Now, he further analyzes and he says, by joining the Board of Peace, Pakistan ensures the goodwill of US. There's no doubt. It also ensures that the IMF stays off its back. Why? It needs IMF bailout. What did Shahbaz Sharif do in Davos? He met the IMF chief and Donald Trump. Now, no one else. I mean, no one else bothered about him. They only took pictures of them. So, IMF for money, Donald Trump to get this, to join the Board of Peace. So, if that doesn't happen, the economy collapses. Now, what do? Right? Now, he says by embedding itself in the Trump administration's signature peace initiative, Pakistan effectively purchases a legitimate backing from the US. Now, this is the important part. The deep state in Pakistan calculates that if it launches a terror campaign against India now, Washington will be paralyzed by the fear that an Indian retaliation would destabilize a key partner in the Middle East peace process and hence give it insurance. This is the thinking of Musharraf. What did Musharraf do? He said, please come in to USA. USA came in, prosecuting the war on terror in Afghanistan, everything. And that gave him license to do what he wanted to do in India. So when he did that, we couldn't retaliate because US was there and US told us, please don't do. The same playbook is being repeated, right? And the same playbook is being repeated. That's what one has to understand. That's their calculation. If we are integrated to the US will stop India from doing anything. So hence we can do something to India. Period. So this is the calculation, fundamental. Don't forget it. Okay, but then there is some internal rift which he'll get over. Like Tribune has come out, Parliament to decide Pakistani troop deployment to Gaza, as per the sources. But knowing Mullah Munir, he'll twist this Parliament to ensure that all that. But the more insidious thing is this: you do the backward integration. Very recently, one of the Hamas leaders, came to Pakistan and he made a speech. Who brought him? This jihadi gang. And this is the link which Mr. Mahesh Datmalali has put out. But in any case, forget about this link and all that. This is the clip of that speech, short clip. You'll look at it. He is a guy, Hamas chap. नारायण तकबीर फलस्तीनियों से रिश्ता किया. So नारे तकबीर ये वो सब आ रहा है देखो. Hamas chap came. This is early this month. And this fellow is doing that deal. So where does it leave? So the jihadi elements, Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish, they brought this fellow, they spoke. We know that. I mean, everyone knows. So this is similar to what happened earlier, right? Except that the scene has changed from Pakistan to Palestine to get that insurance. And this is very well brought out in this memory article. Okay? Very well brought out in this article. He says, right, 15 January, he talks about all this. Now, what's interesting here, what he writes is Pakistan is allowing Hamas representatives on their soil to operate freely, participate in the public events, and forge alliances with local militant outfits. This from memory. Okay? This behavior undermines Western efforts to isolate Hamas and puts under question whether the US should keep on considering Pakistan as a major non-NATO ally. The fact on ground is that US is being double crossed by Pakistan. And Pakistan is it? Or US is playing a game? Both. Okay. So the questions which I have come out of this thing is very clearly there is a deal between Hamas and Pakistan going on. There's a deal between US and Pakistan going on. So who's going to double cross whom? Knowing Pakistan and the way it behaves and what it did in the earlier under Musharraf, they're going to hunt with the hounds and run with the hare. That's been their thing. So they might go to Gaza, get insurance against India through US. I mean, that's their plan, and that's Asim Munir's plan. Get money out of IMF, everything, do a deal with Hamas and help. And then it frees them to do what they want and they restart Kashmir with Hamas. Okay. Now there is an opportunity for Pakistan to embark upon an anti-Indian campaign. It frees them. They've done a deal with Hamas, they've done a deal with USA, everything. So they're fundamental anti-Indian. After all, at the end of the day, Mullah Munir wants what? Destruction of India. And he also said we'll come through the Eastern Front. So Pakistan is very clearly exploiting Bangladesh. So we'll come to Bangladesh now. If all this is not enough, in every eventuality, whether it was in Bangladesh or earlier or whenever, if you see, at the end of the day, Pakistan has always facilitated China to get into the deal. Because China on its own doesn't have that capability at this point of time. Because China has got its own problems. And everyone knows it for the past 1 year plus. Okay. I've been talking of it. And of course, with Zhang Yuxia going and things like that, it's a tectonic shift. Today evening, self and Rajiv Narayanan will discuss this. Okay, in the evening. That's a later day story or later hour story. But Pakistan will facilitate China coming in because eventually Pakistan believes that its uh, salvation lies with China against India. Ultimately, it's against India. Pakistan has no agenda of its own to uplift its masses and all that. All that is nonsense. It is all about Pakistan army and Mullah Munir trying to be in power. If not Mullah Munir, some other Mullah will come. Okay. And for that, these are the ways. USA is the daddy whom Pakistan has to milk and then ignore. Their militants and Jaish groups and terror elements are the sword arm. They can't let go. The Pakistan army can't fight. They know if they fight with India, they'll get clobbered. Or they might down one odd aircraft of ours, but that doesn't matter. Okay. And China. All the amplification, information amplification of whatever Pakistan is doing is being done by China, through China, and of course the West. Even now, there are articles coming out about how in Diplomat today there's an article how Pakistan, turned US against India. I don't think Pakistan turned US against India. It is in US who's using now Pakistan to get at India. But we'll come to that at the end. We'll talk of that. Well, let's switch to Bangladesh. Now, this is the article in Washington Post. It says US seeks to be friends with Bangladesh once banned Islamist party. This article is based on that clip which came out between one of the American diplomats who was in Bangladesh, Eric Gillen, and he was talking to some guy in Bangladesh. It's all over the news. We'll listen to parts of it. So, and now it's in black and white. And what does this article say? The important thing is since Hasina's ouster in 2024, Jamaati Islami has held 4 meetings in Washington. So, Washington, this is as per Washington Post. Huh? So, there are 4 meetings between Jamaat and USA. Where? There. Right? In Dhaka. Someone might have gone there also. And the party leader also met virtually with US Trade Representative Jamison Greer. Jamaat. So is Bangladesh being propagated by Jamaat? Or rather, is US propagating Jamaat for Bangladesh? And in that, that guy Eric Gillen has said, if Jamaat was to rise to power and implement policies that are anathema to Washington, the US would retaliate against the country's massive garment industry. This is out of context, but that's the threat they're giving, and that's the only threat they can give. So very clearly, USA is supporting the Jamaat in this election. Very clear, and that's there. This is the clip. It's a 7-minute long clip. I'll not play that, but
workers. Remittances coming in, the vote of confidence that was in the IG, people identifying Eunice as someone who could be trusted, and therefore putting the money back in the formal channel was huge. And the RNG sector never missed a beat. I've had people from other countries in the region tell me Sri Lanka would never survive.
So here is this guy who's praising Bangladesh. That Bangladesh had showed resilience, Yunus is great, all that. Very clearly, all this was engineered. I mean, this talk itself indicates this entire story was engineered by US. Okay. Let's see some more.
What we've identified is that there is a giant invisible force of social cohesion in Bangladesh. Every time we thought things would spin off,
So he is talking of a giant invisible social cohesion force within Bangladesh. And it says every time we thought some things will go wrong, it's been corrected back. And they feel now, USA feels that social cohesion comes from Jamaat. Okay? It's coming from Jamaat. Right.
believe that Jamaat can impose Sharia.
But he is very clear that Jamaat can't impose Sharia law. If they impose Sharia law and go against Catholic churches, and all that, right? Uh, as per this talk, I'll not. I mean, if you guys want to see this, you can see it on the net. This is available. I'm not going to go. If that we will, sanction, put 100% tariffs, all that, because USA doesn't have anything else to do. Will not let the garment industry grow. Look, this is, if you see this whole thing and understand, the presupposition here is two. One, Jamaat should come to power and we'll back the Jamaat. That's the first thing. The second, if BNP comes to power, we'll topple it. We will destabilize it and topple it, because and he says the internal contradictions of BNP will ensure it goes. And in this, implicit in this is also very clearly in this thing that it's only BNP and Jamaat who will, uh, you know, participate in the elections, because that NCP has gone, the Students' Council, that is all gone. Okay. These two parties, because Awami League has been very clearly kept out. Awami League not participating in this election is being backed fully by US. So when you say Soros and Poros and Yevo and all that, look, the Trump administration and the Biden administration are no different. I don't believe in this business of Soros, Foros, and all that, because this guy has done it openly and he's talking openly. He's a Trump administration diplomat. So, whatever is the outcome in Bangladesh, there is a US hand in it. Let's be very clear. Okay. And in any case, we don't need more evidence than this. But there are other issues. And I thought, let me put that across to you, because I'm going to lead it all this to somewhere else. Now, this is the Amir of Jamaat. He is gone on stage today during election campaigns which are happening. Bangladesh will not become Pakistan or Afghanistan. No, it will not become Pakistan he wants power for himself. Okay. And he wants to get that power, use USA. And at some point, he'll start using China, facilitated by Pakistan. Because the Jamaat, whether you like it or not, the Jamaat is a transnational ideology. Remember that. It's not a party, it's not a thing, it's a transnational ideology. And this transnational ideology of Jamaat comes into India also and Pakistan. And in Pakistan, it is alive and well, kicking. Here, it is coming to power. In India, of course, it's banned. We will already sort them out. So it might not be Pakistan or Afghanistan, it'll be something else. Okay. But the US is very clear. They don't want Bangladeshis to enter in their country. They already put visa bonds. As per this for this by the US embassy in Dhaka. If a guy wants a business visa to go to USA, he has to put $15,000 as zamanat. Unless there's a deposit of $15,000, he doesn't get a B2, B1 visa. Okay? Yeah. It says as of 21st January, eligible Bangladeshi B1, B2 business tourist visa applicants must pay a bond of $15,000 before the visa will be issued. $15,000. Not a joke. That's nearly 14, 15 lakhs. That guy has to put on the table. Okay, before. So US is very clear. Why is it doing all this? It's not going to get. They don't want Bangladeshi labor there. They don't want everything. They want cheap garments, cheap labor, and all that. But they don't want Bangladeshis there. So then why is US doing all this? It's not doing what for? Now you see the connection. Why is US doing all this here? Why is US doing everything in Pakistan? In Pakistan, the flip happened when the flip happened in Opsindur. After that, the Trump administration and Mullah Munir are licking each other off like ice cream cones. That flip happened there, and here you see this flip in a different manner. They're getting back to Jamaat. Who are the targets then? India. The pincer. That's why I put this. Yeah, this is the pincer. See this? One side and the other side, the blue in between. So let's be very clear what's happening. We'll deal with Bangladesh. You see, as a country, we should know how to deal with Bangladesh. As a country, we should know how to deal with Pakistan. As a country and a growing power, we should know how to deal with USA. And I'll talk of China also in the end. So you see this orchestration happening through USA. Okay, visa bonds we've spoken. But there's something else happening in Bangladesh which we have to understand. On 12th February, the vote is not about which party will come to power. This is something which is now coming up. The vote is about there's also a referendum. The vote is also a referendum. I mean, the Bangladesh elections will be in two distinct parts. One is the vote, the other is a referendum. The referendum is to see should they change the structure of Bangladesh, the constitution of Bangladesh. Now, while people are free to vote whom they want, to some extent, because Awami League is out of the equation, people have a stilted choice of either voting for BNP or Jamaat. They don't have another option because the third option, which ruled the country for 15 years, is banned. The second thing, so that itself is a unrepresentative election. And this unrepresentative election is the cream on this is that there's going to be a referendum. And that referendum is going to handle what will be the future shape of Bangladesh. There are going to be 80 questions, issues on which the referendum is being held. But on those 80 issues, there's no debate, no nothing in Bangladesh. It is just yes or no. And who's propagating this referendum? Yunus and his government. The government of Bangladesh is propagating this referendum so that everyone votes for a yes. Just think. If US engineers Jamaat into power, if not now, a little later. Okay? It might be the scenarios I'm unfolding. BNP comes into power, it's undercut, thrown out. Jamaat, the next senior party, is broken up or whatever it is, because Tariq Rahman is not a seasoned politician. Okay, he is cut, thrown out. Jamaat comes into power, it eats up half of BNP, it buys off. USA will facilitate it. And then this referendum says, okay, change the constitution of Bangladesh. So the constitution of Bangladesh will completely go Islamic with Jamaat. Then it is East Pakistan reborn. It's happening. Who does that help? After all, who's engineering all this? USA. And that help is also coming from where? Pakistan. Pakistan will help them in do this engineering through the Jamaat. So there is constitutional engineering going on. There is democratic engineering going on in, and the social engineering going on in Bangladesh. Forget the fact that Hindus are going to be hate here. That's a minor issue. We'll handle that. It's not. I mean, when I say minor, it's not that minor. People are being targeted, and these minorities will have to eventually flee. 8% of Bangladesh population is not a joke. You're talking about 15, 20 million people. Okay. So where do they go? If the constitution of Bangladesh changes, the problem at hand is huge, bigger than what we have imagined. Okay. What happened in that Bangladesh uh, being thrown out of that World Cup is just a manifestation of a mindset which is there in Bangladesh. What if you analyze it? Bangladesh people thought, look, without us, the World Cup won't run. And they were backed by Pakistan. Pakistan said, oh, if they throw you out, we'll also pull out. So far, they have not pulled out. That fellow, Sab Naqvi, says, oh no, we'll pull out, all that. We'll see. If it pulls out, what should we do? Just throw them out, yeah. Get lost. Neither you or Bangladesh, we don't need. The World Cup will still go on because India is there. India is maybe 6 times their size. We'll continue. Another team will come in and will continue if Pakistan doesn't come. In any case, Pakistan, we don't need. Even if it is not there in the World Cup, it doesn't matter. That's a different story. But the mindset of the Pakistanis, the mindset of the Bangladeshis, this entire thing was political in nature. This could have been resolved if it was left to cricket administrators. They would have come to a viable solution. In fact, I thought a viable solution was being spoken of in this whole story. And the viable solution was, okay, instead of Calcutta, go to Chennai and play where things are acceptable and all that. It was being spoken of. All that went out of the window. All that went out of the window. Okay? Why? Because political. And this entire politics was being done, that sports advisor of Bangladesh, by an unelected guy. You're not elected. How can an unelected representative take such a decision? It's a political decision. So this political slant is something which we have to understand. And look at this thing which has come out. Here is a guy, this chap is a Jamaat guy. There's a clip, I have not taken that clip and all. They feel, what is being exploited here is the mindset of Bangladeshis. The Bangladeshis feel they're the center of the world, that India depends on them, that India's wealth is being created out of Bangladesh. He says so. I mean, he says, of course, he's spoken in Bengali here. He says, do you have any idea how many crores of taka India earns from Bangladesh every year? Bangladesh is not dependent on India. This narrative must be what? Dismantled. In reality, India depends on Bangladesh. That's their thinking, that India depends on Bangladesh, and India's growth, everything depends on Bangladesh. So this thinking is there in this Jamaat. And look, just think, USA is supporting it. Okay, USA is supporting such a regime coming into play, and USA is also supporting a national referendum being propagated by UNS government, a referendum which aims to change the secular nature of Bangladesh. And it will change because 50% of Bangladesh who were voting for Awami League can now either vote for BNP or Jamaat only. And both these parties are pro-Islamic. So you're going to have a future where a US-backed Islamic radical country called Bangladesh is going to exist. And there, Trump, for the next 3 years, this is it. After that, we don't know what happens. But generally, you're going to have a Trump-backed Mullah Munir double crossing Trump in Gaza, and propagating whatever he wants to do in uh, JNK through with Hamas, and also now exploiting this route. He will use, Jamaat will now use, ISI will use. After all, there are already relations growing between Pakistan and Bangladesh in defense. Recently, the Bangladesh air chief went to Pakistan for the JF-17 and many more. So all these are happening at various levels. Okay, we made the mistake of looking at Bangladesh and Pakistan separately, but I don't think so. I don't think we can afford that. And at the same time, the reality is that Bangladesh is in a bad shape. Hospitals today are lying vacant because there's nothing. The hospitals can't give medicine, it can't give anything. Something similar what's happened in Pakistan. That's why I brought this. In Pakistan also there are hospitals. So if you go to a hospital, the only thing you get is consultation free. Because tests are, someone has to pay for the test. You have to pay for your test and you have to pay for your own medicines. So here also the same thing is happening. In fact, here it's even worse. New hospitals are lying locked. So you're going to have a radicalized society with no means to do anything, okay, which will be dependent. Both these countries will be dependent on IMF. Both these countries will be virtually, like marionettes controlled by USA. Uncle Trump. It's not Uncle Sam, Uncle Trump. He'll do the thing. And why? India. Let's be very clear. Because he has to control India, because India is no more under his control. And that is why it is important for us for Atmanirbharta. The only, we'll finish, right. Now, what is happening in this whole story? This is an article which I saw yesterday in their Daily Star. IMF has got full grip on Bangladesh economy, like it has a full grip on Pakistan economy. And if you actually look at it, this is something which has gone under the carpet all these days. If you analyze this thing in detail, hmm, you realize the complete story of what's happened to Bangladesh didn't start on October 24. Started in 22 during COVID. Why? During COVID, its exports fell. It had to go to the IMF. The moment Sheikh Hasina had to go to the IMF, okay, instability started coming in. The prosperity which Bangladesh enjoyed went. That gave room. See, the moment Bangladesh went to the IMF, the US guys got their talons in. This is not a small thing, it's happened for a longer time. And they've created that instability through Hasina out. And then you'll ask me, why is USA doing it? USA has done it with two purposes. One, India. It had to, because the Trent Martin's Island and all that base in Bangladesh. Why? The moment a base comes there, that it's going to be against us and China. Both. So this story is not new. It's an old story. It started with previous Trump administration, carried through by the Biden administration. Now it comes out again with Trump. This article, I was reading and it came. I said, "Yeah, what's this article about?" Went into it, and I saw the instability started. Then that led to this thing. The IMF put restrictions on Bangladesh in a manner that recovery won't be possible. The same way things are happening in Pakistan. And of course, there's a power crisis. Now they can't pay. And herein lies the rub. Right? Herein lies the rub. And this is where everyone's hand is weak, including the US hand, or Pakistani hand, or even the Bangladeshi hand. For everything, they have to depend on India. There's no other choice. Whether it's power, their garment industry is in a mess, their medicines are in a mess. We know that. We know that. Everything is in a mess. Economically, they've gone down, hugely down. If you go into what that guy 7-minute video, which of that Eric Gillen, he said, now it's on a wrong premise. It's on the premise that US will import garments from Bangladesh to feed the Bangladesh economy. Okay, that's not going to happen. India is not going to allow it anymore. That whole story was propagated, or rather, the growth of Bangladesh was actually subsidized by India. If India didn't give them the environment of growth with Sheikh Hasina, if India didn't normalize their boundary problems, in that boundary problems, we gave up more enclaves than they gave. Incidentally, they gained more land, but that's minor in a thing. So the entire subsidy, or rather, Bangladesh was largely subsidized by India. That's how their export sectors grew. We facilitated their growth because this was the belief we had, that if you have a neighbor who's prosperous, who's part of our prosperity, it's good for us. It is like it's happening in Colombo. It should happen. It's happening in Bhutan, and it should happen in Nepal if we play our cards right. After all, they're coming up with their election shortly. Okay, we did, but the moment the US got a whiff of how instability is coming into this place, they did the trick. And now they're not going to let go. And Pakistan also will not let go. After all, Mullah Munir is on record to say, I'll start from the east. So he's going to put Bangladesh on the chopping block. And of course, Kashmir back. And he will double cross Trump. Now, all this double cross, ye cross, wo cross, who comes in? China. China is waiting in the wings. Because China is getting a free ride into Bangladesh and Pakistan by Pakistan. Of course, it will not leave Pakistan. As much as US thinks that, it's cornering China, it's a game. It's a game going on between US and China. But China also has the same aims. And that's what I put out yesterday. If there's one thing which China and USA, Trump and Xi Jinping agree, it is that India can't rise. And I've said this before also. So what's going to happen between us and EU? What's going to happen between us and Japan? What's going to happen between us and Brazil, or between us and US also, or US between India and China also? It's going to affect all this, or rather, these two inputs are going to push us in. So you have to play the smart game. We are not. So the internal strength, the near peripheral strategy, and the external strategy are all need to be intermeshed as far as we are concerned. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. And this is what I wanted to say. The pincer is coming from USA through Pakistan and Bangladesh. But one day the US pincer will go off. It will go off. Why? Because US needs India. There's no doubt. We are too enmeshed with each other already. What US wants is we don't become another China and pose a problem for them. Yeah, we don't want to be another China, but we'll be a different India and a stronger India. and India which doesn't have guys like Xi Jinping or Zhang Yugjia, whom we'll talk of. A democratically strong India. And this is where democracies, good, strong democracies, will thrive as against weak, engineered democracy in Bangladesh, or a dictatorship in Pakistan, or a autocracy, the Chinese Communist Party, single party autocracy of China, which is fragile. We're seeing that fragility. Okay. Or for that matter, the monarchies of the Gulf. You can deal with all of them, but we should be clear what we want to do. So I've just put across all these things. Pakistan is a proxy, Bangladesh is a proxy of both USA and China. I come back to that. Okay? So we have to understand this whole story, and we have to behave accordingly. Well, I'm going to take some questions. Let me see what your views are on all this. I do hope you like this video. If you like this video, press the like button. Also subscribe to Gunner Shot and press that bell icon. And most importantly, please subscribe. Please join Gunner Shot as members. Right? Uh, I think we need to change our way of thinking. Okay. The good thing is we seem to be understanding it. We also have to be confident of how we're going to handle these fellows. You have to. Gone are the days when Bangladesh can be, handled like a good neighbor. It's a bad neighbor. Behave with that. Like I said, let's put the 50-kilometer zone where you say any activity which is inimical to our interests, you'll get it. It has to be given a tightening. And let's see who helps Bangladesh out. Any case, that whole population is against India. So let's see how to handle it. Why should we placate a population which is being brainwashed into being anti India? Why do you want to placate a country which is going to be completely Islamist and anti India in nature, constitutionally? Because that constitution is going to change. So we need to do a lot of things. And of course, with Pakistan, the only way to sort out Pakistan is transfer the political problem into Pakistan. Whether you want to do it through Afghanistan, you want to do it through Balochistan or uh, J&K, is anyone's choice. But you have to do it. War won't help us. Or even the water. Water also has limited utility. You have to do it politically. Right. Okay. So with this, I'll take some questions. Right. At the outset, I like to thank Krishnamurti Sankar Narayanan for becoming a member. Grateful to you. Yeah, thanks a lot. Strategic logic of the PINCER. Thank you. Yeah, let me see. US military industrial complex has to run. I agree with you. Yeah. Is there any long term plan to push or transport Bangladesh to one side? No, no, forget it. All that is. What kind of nukes, Aka, what contraband can they run for USA? Are USA proxies or the. Vivek, I've seen all your posts. Um, I see that you put in a lot of thought in what you write, but I think your thinking is imbalanced. I'm telling you because if you balance your thinking out, everything needs balance. You put water in a jug, it seeks its balance. You put water on the floor, water goes to seek balance. The oceans get balanced. The environmental cycle seeks balance always. So get your balance in, and you'll be a great thinker. This is my view about you. As Pete Hegseth posted, declared that China is not an imminent threat so far. Also, Trump is yet to visit. Yeah, he's that. It's already there in the national defense strategy. As per them, China is no more a threat. China is someone they have to deter in the Western Pacific. That's it. Okay. Yeah. How will a defense deal with EU affect how Russia sees us? It would be great if you could go through Pete Hegseth's speech on military fusion at SpaceX. Yeah, I'll do that one of these days. I'll do it as part of my thing. But a defense deal with uh, US, EU, won't make much change between our relationship with Russia. Okay, it won't. Because the same logic which you gave to EU, when you took the Russian oil, you give it back to Russia if you do a deal with US, EU. It's my safety I'm looking at, my security, my interest. It is not at your expense. When we took oil from Russia, what did it tell US and EU? That we taking it at the cheapest place. You want it, take it. Otherwise, we'll sell it where we want. It's open market. We played the market. Same thing here. We want arms, we want equipment, we want technology, we want our trade to improve. Right? You don't have that kind of capability beyond a point. And today, the oil market is much more opening. It'll open up. You watch what's going to happen after Iran. Iran is in the cards. I expect some result from Iran coming in the next 10, 15 days. We'll talk of it more also. So when that happens, things will change, isn't it? The oil scene will change. Then why should you buy cheap oil, sanctioned oil from Russia? I'll buy cheap oil from Iran or wherever. Part of the game. And also remember, I've been telling you, why should you answer anything to Russia? You know, why should you answer anything? Russia is giving engines for JF-17 for Pakistan to sell elsewhere. It's their interest. So let's exercise our interest.